Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Andrew, your humble conserva nerd, back again, and I'm in the mood to talk about Star Wars. But not just any Star Wars video games. My favorite Star Wars video games, in fact. I'm going to rank my top 10 Star Wars video games that I've ever played, so let's get it started. Now, before I get into my list, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Jump down and hit that subscribe button because we are doing content like this all the time. Star Wars content, movie content, video game content, anything that involves the world of nerd culture. But we also aren't afraid to comment on the political and religious commentary that is within those forms of media. So if that's something that you are interested in, make sure that you're subscribed, hit the like button, and share this with a friend. All right, with that out of the way, let's talk about some Star Wars video games. Now let's remember, this is my subjective list of my most favorite Star Wars games. This is not me telling you what the best Star Wars games are and what order you should put them in. These are simply my 10 most favorite Star Wars games that maybe I have a special connection to or just some form of crazy nostalgia for. So if you disagree with my list, that's perfectly fine. Jump down into the comment section and tell me what your 10 favorite Star Wars video games are, because I want to know. Most likely, you're going to have a game that I don't even have on my list, and I have a game that you don't have on your list. So let's start a conversation. One last thing, I want to mention a couple honorable mentions that are not making it on this list. Some of these you'll probably disagree with, but I don't care, it's my list. First off, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. I love these games. These games are great. Personally, I don't have enough of an attachment to these. I played each one once, and they're great, but they don't have the nostalgia factor that a lot of these games on this list have, and that's why they didn't quite make the list for me. I'd also like to mention Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the video game adaptation of the movie. Really, really fun game if you've never played it, and it's got the movie clips from the actual film cut into the different cinematics of the game. So yeah, check that one out if you've never played it before. Anyway, let's kick it off with number 10. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit here, obviously, because there are technically two games at number 10, but I kind of put them together because, honestly, I never play one without going right into playing the other. I'm talking, of course, about Lego Star Wars 1 and 2. The games that kicked off Lego's tradition of taking popular movie properties and turning them into video games. These games were so much fun. I remember playing them as a kid and just getting so much joy out of them. The first Lego Star Wars game was probably the first ever game that I actively tried to get 100% completion on, because it would actually tell you at the bottom of the screen how far along you were in the progression of the game. That, along with collecting all of the jingling mini kit canisters that are scattered throughout all the different levels, that you could then go back to the hub world and see the progress of all the collectibles that you've been working so hard to obtain. It just made for an excellent formula for a 7 or 8 year old kid who loves Star Wars to just dive into his video game console and spend hours upon hours of just getting lost in creativity. All right, let's talk about number 9, Shadows of the Empire. Now, this is one of those games that took me a long time to actually fully complete because as a kid, there were some levels that I just struggled to get past. Specifically, the level where you have to go and fight Boba Fett as the boss at the end. For some reason, I had such a struggle getting through that level as a kid. Obviously, I've completed it many times now, but I remember this being a rage quit game for me as a kid. I did really love that speeder bike level though. All right, number 8, Republic Commando, the cliffhanger that still haunts me to this day, as I'm sure it haunts all of you as well. Justice for Sev. As far as first-person shooters go, this was the one that I dove into the most. More so than Halo, more so than Call of Duty. Something about this game where you've got your squadron, because that's what this game is all about, your team. The relationship between these characters is what makes this game so awesome. You're out there infiltrating some kind of droid facility and you're giving commands and you're telling this guy to go over here and take this post and you're telling this other team member to go and take this position over here as a sniper. It's just like you have total control over the game plan, and it takes a lot of strategy to beat some of these scenarios. This is one of those games that taught me as a kid that I need to sometimes hold back instead of just running in guns a-blazing. I need to make sure that I have a plan and use my team to the fullest of their abilities. Number 7, you saw it in the thumbnail, Rogue Squadron. This is another one that kind of challenged me as a kid. A lot of these levels were kind of difficult, especially the levels where you have to protect the convoy and protect the train, and oh my gosh, if everything blows up, then you lose the level and you got to start over, and oh my gosh, there's Imperial bombers flying everywhere, and if you're not dead on with your targeting system, you're gonna lose. But this was the game that taught me all of the code names for all of the Rebel starfighters. There's the X-Wing, the Y-Wing, the A-Wing, the V-Wing, all the different wings. There's even some bonus starfighters that you can unlock. Man, those were the days when you could just unlock things by playing the game instead of spending an extra $25. But I digress. Number 6. Now, I know a lot of you are probably going to disagree with me on this, but I actually like the sequel a little bit more. There's something about the story of Battle for Naboo that I just enjoy. You play as this character called Lieutenant Sykes following his commander, Captain Kale, and they're one of the few officers in the Naboo security force that was able to escape during the invasion of the Trade Federation. And you now have to go around the planet to try and scrounge up all of the possible freedom fighters that you could find in order to come together at the end and save Naboo. And along the way, some characters die. There's some kind of emotional moments. It gets kind of heavy. There's also some killer set pieces in this game, especially the last level where you have to go in and destroy the Trade Federation droid control ship. That was a fun level. If you've never played Battle for Naboo, maybe you've only played Rogue Squadron, give Battle for Naboo a try. Trust me, at least I love it. You may not, but I recommend. Number 5, the game that introduced Star Killer himself, The Force Unleashed. Now, as you can see, I grew up playing the PlayStation 2 version of this game. I know a lot of people say that the Xbox version is the better version, but not to me. I have actually tried playing the Xbox version, but I just couldn't get over how different it was from this version, and to me, this is the definitive version of the game. Regardless of the version, you play as Star Killer, and he is OP in this game. At least once you get all his powers upgraded all the way. But by the end, you are just mowing down stormtroopers like it's nothing. You really do feel like you are just unleashing the full power of the Force by the end of this game. Definitely a classic. Number 4. All right, now we're getting into the ones where I had some serious trouble ranking these. But the original Battlefront is such a fun time. This game introduced a whole new idea for Star Wars games. All you gotta do is drop yourself into this sandbox of just any battlefield in the Star Wars universe and just go to town. I can turn this game on today and play it for hours and not get tired of it. The whole idea of just dropping yourself into this battlefield, and the only 2 ways you can win is 1, eliminating all of the enemy opponents, or 2, collecting all of the command posts on the battlefield and holding them for 20 seconds. Now, sometimes that's easy, but sometimes it's kind of hard. There are some levels in this game that clearly lean in one direction. Geonosis, for example. My brother and I were just playing this level just the other day, and we were trying our darndest, and we still lost. You never can tell what's going to happen with this game, and that's one of the reasons why I love it. Number 3, Knights of the Old Republic. Now hold off before you finish typing that comment. I know you probably have this at your number 1. You're probably screaming at me right now. But trust me, let me explain. I love this game. I absolutely adore this game. The story in this game is unmatched. There is not a better story in a Star Wars game. The whole story of redemption, your relationship with all of your characters from Bastila to Karth to HK-47, all of these classic characters were introduced in this game. It was a total groundbreaker for Star Wars games. The only reason why I have it at number 3 is I was late to the party. I did not play this game until I was much further along in my gaming career. I played the LEGO games first, I played Rogue Squadron and Battle for Naboo first, I played Force Unleashed first. Also, another reason why it's a little bit lower on the list is it's just such a huge undertaking to start and finish this game. It's so long. And if you really want to get the full effect of everything and do all of the different side quests and stuff that are optional, you gotta spend days, weeks possibly, to go through this game, especially if you have a full-time job, which I do, but I still love it nonetheless. Number 2, none of you are going to agree with this, but I will die on this hill that this is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds for the PC is one of my all-time favorites. To this day, I will sit down and I will spend all day on this game. I'll sit down in the morning and before I know it, it's time to go to bed. Now, I know it kind of steals from the whole Age of Empires format, but I think Battlegrounds does it better. Something about building your Star Wars civilization, collecting resources, training Wookiee soldiers and whatever to go out and fight in a battle. It's just so much fun, and I love it dearly. I've played it ever since I was a kid. If you've never played it, trust me, treat yourself, find a copy, find a computer that can run it. I think it's on Steam, actually. Grab it, play it, and then come back and tell me how much you love it. Finally, number 1. To me, this is it. This is the best Star Wars game ever made. Star Wars Battlefront 2 improved on everything that the first game introduced, not only by adding in a really great campaign in Rise of the Empire, but it also upped the abilities of the different characters. It added a sprint button, which I still am sorely lacking whenever I go back to play the first game. And let's not forget Galactic Conquest. That game mode to this day might be my favorite game mode that I've ever played in any video game ever. No matter how many times you've played Galactic Conquest, you can jump into it and expect something different. This game also introduced space battles. Space battles where you can jump into the Starcraft and you can fly out, you can attack the Star Destroyer from the outside, or you can board a gunship, fly into their hangar, and infiltrate their starship and destroy them from within. This game is so smart. Hours upon hours of endless fun. That's why I love it, and that's why it's my number 1. Well, guys, that is my top 10 most favorite Star Wars games that I have ever played. What do you think? Jump down into the comments section and tell me what your top 10 list is. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What games are on your list that weren't on mine? Jump down, let me know, and let's start a conversation. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and remember, keep gaming and keep praying.